with the lovely Toby K. Davis.
I'm one of those people who basically grew up inside of my stories. I was born in Eastern Tennessee in a cabinish kind of house. 2 rooms with a tin roof. There was no hospital there. And so I was born right there. And every adventure that I write about is in some way hooked in and tied to Appalachia. The poverty there, the poor schools, the bootlegging. My granddaddy was a bootlegger. That's where he makes his own liquor. And all of these different activities in the Great Smoky Mountains. Either they're my stories or stories that my relatives told to me, whether it was my Uncle Don, who's in the book, by the way, or my grandmother, or my grandmother's sister. You know, they all have these real roots to Tennessee. I was trained as a teacher, and so I taught, getting ahead of myself. My husband was a Foreign Service officer. We lived in 12 countries over 32 years. And most of the time I was working as a reading specialist or a resource teacher, helping kids learn how to read. And I had 2 goals. One goal was to teach them how to read. Like, for example, I had 9th graders, couldn't read at all. So they hired a 1st grade teacher, me, to teach them phonics, to teach them how to read. So that became my focus. That, teaching them how to read, and number 2, intrinsically motivating them. When I graduated from the University of Washington, my husband went on to get his MBA degree, and I went to teach at a private school north of Seattle for gifted and talented kids. And that gave me my eclectic teaching style. I had 15 kids. I taught 15 different methods of reading. The one word that describes me is eclectic. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of everything. Well, Keely is the heroine. She's a 10-year-old little girl, kind of like she's a knight, you know, in old times, a knight, you know, fighting for right without armor. She has no armor. She's defenseless. And in her hometown, there's lots of boarded up houses, deserted homes. The local mine is closed. Very few of the families have work. And so it's a sad, sad place. And Keely's dad has a job, but it's as a salesman. So he's gone all the time, for weeks at a time. And her mother, her mom gets sad, lonely, drinks too much, and is not so nice to Keely when that happens. And the bills overwhelm her, and her anger is uncontrolled. So Keely has that, but she has one thing that makes her special. She has her grandmother. Her grandmother loves her unconditionally and believes in her. And so she tells Keely, don't worry, you're special. You know, you can do it. You can do whatever you think that you can do because they're your ideas, you know. So that's what she's getting from her grandmother. And she teaches, and Keely learns from her when she's feeling really sad to put all of the bad things inside of her. And then she climbs a tree, a big tree, a willow tree. And when she's up in the tree, she cries tears onto the branches and releases her bad feelings onto the tree. So, I mean, she talks to trees, she talks to animals, she telepathically, and she, in this story, she inherits a horse, and then the horse foals a miracle, and the miracle is Kreia. Kreia is the foal, and Kreia is a baby Unicorn. And the unicorn is like the answer to Keely's dreams. You know, when you imagine, you know, somebody's going to save you from all of this, you know. So, books. Date. Fantasy. Coffee. Mountains. Vacation. Chocolate. Kiss. Winter. Countryside. Road trip. Tequila because it makes margaritas. Waffles. Off. That's good. I mean, it's a good question. My handwriting gets worse and worse and worse every year, so typewritten.
Okay.
Call. Writing. It's a passion.
Well, thank you so much. That sounds like a really exciting adventure.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here with us today. It was a pleasure.